Congress.
So have you heard about this? Brand new polling shows what the American people think of the media's coverage of the president. Hint, it's not great. And a group of House Democrats are calling for President Trump's impeachment today. Party leaders, though, say, wait, they do not want to go down that road, whether this will go anywhere or if it will further divide the Democrats. We'll talk about it. Stay close.
Nearly every month that President Trump has served in office, Americans have witnessed some sort of violation of our values, our civil liberties, and access to opportunities, and he has broken the law.
A new showdown looming on Capitol Hill. Some House Democrats this morning launching a push to impeach President Trump, despite leaders in their own party saying they want to avoid going that route. The group accusing President Trump of violating the Constitution. Watch.
We are introducing articles of impeachment to remove President Trump from office. And given the magnitude of the constitutional crisis, there's no reason for delay.
There are many reasons why I think the president is an awful president, an awful person.
This president has committed misdeeds that merit impeachment.
The president, Donald Trump, is a threat to our national security.
But some top Democrats in recent weeks appearing concerned that such a fight may turn off voters and saying impeachment is not their focus. Watch this.
I am not talking about impeachment because I'm talking about good jobs for folks. I'm talking about health care for all. I'm talking about making sure that we're fighting for the issues that matter most.
Somebody has some facts that come forth about President Trump, but the chips fall where they may. But it's not someplace that I think we should go.
Not a priority for you?
No,
okay.
Our election is about meeting the needs of the American people.
So, Ben, obviously you've got Democrats there saying that President Trump, it's a constitutional crisis, but doesn't it also have a destabilizing effect to try to weaponize impeachment?
I mean, it has a destabilizing effect, I think, for Democrats more than it does for the country. I mean, the fact is that the Democrats at the top know that the worst thing that they can do right now is push impeachment preemptively before any crime has been committed, because nothing is going to rally Trump's base or alienate moderates, quite like a stupid impeachment hearing. By the same token, the idea that the Democrats have been pushing for since the election, which is that Donald Trump is a nut, that Donald Trump is a constitutional danger, that he's an incipient Hitler. Well, that means that a lot of the Democratic base is saying, well, if all that's true, you need to get rid of him. Right? Do whatever you can to get rid of him now. So they have this split in their base that they can't exactly rectify. So it's weird to hear people like Nancy Pelosi and Tom Perez saying, well, that's not really a priority. Well, once you ratchet the urgency level up to 11, how is that not a priority?
Well, and to that point, Trish, obviously what Ben just said, and also what we saw with some of the members calling for impeachment, but leadership saying, whoa, whoa, whoa. What does this do for Democrats heading into 2018? How do they walk this line between their base and trying to charge them up, but also being worried about being viable in a general election?
Yeah, this is one where it can cut both ways, because in other words, you get a lot of Americans that say, gosh, they're nothing but obstructionists. And the Democratic Party, many members of it may feel as though their party has effectively not been able to do their job, because if they've been pushing this idea of impeachment but not actually doing stuff that's going to relate and matter to average Americans, then it's kind of a no-win. So I get why Nancy Pelosi is backing off this one. I get why Tom Perez is backing off this one. I don't think they gain anything. Nonetheless, as we talk about this splintered group, the Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, that wing of the party may want to continue pushing it, but it's going to make it more challenging for Democrats.
I attended an event this week, the Glamour Women of the Year Awards, and one of the recipients was Representative Maxine Waters, and she took her time on stage to say that she wanted to impeach the current president in part of her acceptance speech for her award. And I would just ask this question, and I mean, she legitimately has a lot of millennials who follow her and her party, the Democratic Party, but if you're home sitting and you're a voter, aren't you wondering just how long the Democrats are going to ignore the economic issues that really affect your dinner table?
Well, I mean, also, don't you have to ask why Maxine Waters, maybe the most corrupt congressperson in America, is the one pushing impeachment? I mean, she is deeply, deeply corrupt. If somebody should be impeached, it's Maxine Waters.
We'll just let that one sit.
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
I think you left the couch speechless. No, but I think when it comes to Democrats, so every day we have a soundbite like Chuck Schumer, and look, we're kind of all agreeing with Nancy Pelosi here, right? You got to pick your battles so we know when people know when to really listen. And perhaps that's to Nancy Pelosi's point. Like, let's
pick your battles and put the American people in the focus point here.
Well, exactly. But Ben, real quick,
what's the message?
What is the reality here, though? Let's say Democrats take back the House. Is this something you see them actually moving forward?
I mean, I think there will be a heavy push for impeachment from at least half of the Democrats in Congress. And I think that once that ball starts rolling, it's going to be very difficult to stop, because are you going to be the Democrat who wants to go on the record voting against impeachment of President Trump if someone actually brings that to the floor? So it's going to be a real sticking point for them. Again, they've gone over their skis when it comes to the radicalism of their calls about President Trump.
Well, brand new poll.
Democrats have so normalized hatred and violence against the President of the United States that I fear it will result in some crazy lefty trying to assassinate him. And it's not just the President against whom their rage is directed. It's all Republicans and conservatives. They are no longer the opposition party. They are the reckless party, putting lives in danger. Look, it's one thing to disagree. It's what America's all about. But we are now in a danger zone of complete hatred and chaos, unlike anything we've witnessed in American history. The normalization of calling for the assassination, decapitation, or the beating of any president is simply shocking. And it is the extension of this hatred that trickles down and motivates people like the shooter of Congressman Scalise. That shooter wasn't crazy. That's too easy. He hated Republicans and thought they should die. He was focused on his targets, cognizant enough to inquire about the specific party of those baseball players. His history was that of an individual who hated President Trump and Republicans, and he was no doubt oriented as to person, place, and time. They don't have a message. The only message is a message of hate. The Democratic Party right now is a party of hate and destruction, and I think it's anti-American. I really do. I'm sorry. When you talk about, killing the president and doing the stuff that they've been doing, it's disgusting. So what am I talking about? Shakespeare in the Park, where a Donald Trump lookalike is beaten, kicked, and stabbed to death in front of an audience that waits in line for hours to get in. And just this week, Johnny Depp talking about the assassination of President Trump.
This is the last time an actor assassinated a president. I want to clarify, I'm not an actor. I lie for a living. However, it's been a while. And maybe it's time.
Maybe it's time. Kathy Griffin posing with a bloody likeness of the president's head after saying she'd be happy to deliver a beatdown to 10-year-old Barron Trump. And this from Madonna.
Yes, I have thought an awful lot about blowing up the White House.
Charlie Sheen tweeting that he wishes God would take Donald Trump out next. And Mickey Rourke threatening to beat the president with a baseball bat, calling him the biggest scumbag on the planet. Patti LuPone, the subject of tonight's Street Justice, saying she would refuse to perform should the President of the United States walk into that theater. Why?
Tell me why.
Because I hate the how's that? By the way, notice a theme here? They're all has-beens. Of course they're going to stand in the way of progress. They forgot what it's like to be a success. And the attempted assassination of Congressman Scalise is an example of a base that's been motivated by this hate speech. An individual who bought the talking points of the violent left. And make no mistake, there is a cause and effect, a feeling that the actions are justified. The actions are an extension of the verbal hatred. And courts have held verbal hate speech can be considered an incitement to violence or an incitement to riot. This isn't about free speech. Everyone has the right to free speech. We respect that right, and no one says you cannot speak freely. But here's the kicker. There are consequences. I don't see Republicans flipping their lids, trying to burn down buildings in ninja outfits when a Democrat, progressive, or socialist tries to speak. Real silencing occurs when a conservative, though, tries to speak at a liberal university like Berkeley, and the party of anger and violence acts on their hatred. When a police department says, we can't protect a Republican speaker. There's a reason the Democrats are in a downward spiral and keep losing. They've lost the last 4 congressional races since the election of President Trump. And while the president is focused on jobs, the economy, and our safety and security, the Democrats keep fighting over bathrooms and Russia collusion that seems more a problem to me of the Obama administration, who ignored it because they were connected to Russia and they figured Hillary was going to win anyway. But I digress. And while they continue to riot and spew their venom, claiming it's their First Amendment right, Americans see this party for what it is. A party of liberal rage, hatred, and intolerance. A party that, like their last candidate for president, has no message other than calling opponents names like homophobic, xenophobic, racist, and deplorable. It didn't work in 2016. It isn't working now, and it never will work. I worry, though, and you should worry for our president and all elected officials. In spite of the Kumbaya sung after Congressman Scalise's shooting, a state Democratic official was just caught on tape saying he's glad Scalise got shot and he wishes he were dead. The trickling down of hate is a danger to us all. And that's my open. Tell me what you think on my Facebook page or Twitter, #JudgeJeanine.